Yeah. Wait a minute, my music wasn't supposed to cut out that soon. Here, we got to put the music back on there. Here's our theme music, right there. What's a good show opening without theme music? Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good middle of the night, wherever you may be. Hey, it's Saturday, the 18th of June, and it's time for this week's Virtual Pipe Club meeting. I'm your host, David Dorian Ross, and these, as usual, fantastic, the beautiful, the talented, the chaperoned Zoom Room crew. Say good afternoon, Zoom Room.
The usual suspects.
The usual suspects. That's what I was looking for, actually. That was the term I was trying to get to. Well, anyway, it's a great day. It's a wonderful day, and I hope wherever you guys are watching the meeting today, that you're having a wonderful day. We've already determined that in Canada, it's 177 degrees, and in Texas, it's only 100. So there we go.
There you go.
We have, as usual, a very special guest with us today. And I'm not going to introduce him quite yet because we've got other things that we want to do before we get started. By the way, we are live streaming directly out to Facebook and YouTube, as we usually do. And if you're over there like Steve Nash and Leopard Boat Town Piper Gallus, that's a great YouTube name right there. It's the longest YouTube name I think I've ever seen. But they're already chatting in, and if you are watching, please do jump on and tell us where you're from, what you're doing today, and just a reminder that periodically we kind of pause the conversation and open it up to questions and thoughts and comments and queries from the audience, and you're just as much a part of the audience as these guys. So don't hesitate. Go ahead and drop your question in, and I will ask it for you. All right, I will let the cat out of the bag. Our special guest today is Chris Morgan from Morgan Pipes and other Morgan Industries. Divisions, I guess we would say. Morgan Industries Division. I just gave him a new corporate name there, just in case.
It's the Morgan M.
Is going to be paying extra close attention.
Yes.
Wait, there's more than just the pipes? Come on.
It's the Morgan Empire.
The Morgan Empire. That's right.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Get your new name just in case you need one.
Okay.
That's right. That's right. Just in case you didn't have enough going on, Chris.
Yeah,
we've given you
I got a late start today. It was kind of funny, actually, because my daughter came in and she woke me up. And I was like, oh, and I read the clock wrong because I used my watch as like a little stand. And I looked over the stand. I'm like, oh, it's only like 6 o'clock. It's fine. Went back to sleep, realizing that it was 9 because I was up till like 2 in the morning talking to Jeremiah Sandel working on shipping. And so I slept in a little bit, completely blew past my alarm and all that. And I finally jump up. I'm like, oh no, because I have like a whole morning routine. I think DDR, you and I talked about this. Like where I get up and I work out, and I do a whole shower, and I do breath retention work and all that. And I completely had to skip it today because I was like, nope, we got to get this done, and I'm sitting here with a burger, like a half-eaten burger, trying to scarf it down before this.
Well,
I'm here.
You're here, and that's right. And that really is all that matters. But we're going to give you
a channel, so feel free.
It's right.
No. I'll save you guys the obscenities.
This is now the cooking channel. Because we'll just talk about the pairing of that burger with your.
Well, I paired it with a blueberry, collagen peptides, beef organ, and
wait.
protein powder.
Did you just say beef organ?
Yeah, heart, kidney, spleen, liver, beef. Let's see, it's heart, liver, kidney, and spleen. Yeah.
Gentlemen, you've heard it here first.
Sorry for the pun, but that's awful.
It's really, actually, I'm not going to be one of these health food guys because I don't do it for that reason. I eat a primarily meat-based diet, so I don't really eat a lot of vegetables, where you would normally get a lot of these like minerals and vitamins and stuff. But beef organs, specifically liver, have a ton of vitamins. It's a complete actual superfood. And I mean, if you look in the wild, I'll go on a little tangent here. If you look in the wild, when a lion takes down a gazelle, it doesn't go for like the leg; it goes straight for the stomach, and it goes straight for the organs because those are the most nutritious. And we used to do that too. But I take they're desiccated, freeze-dried pills, and you just open one up and you put it in. You don't even taste it. It's like it's not even there.
Well, we're all going to start a new trend then, and with your next blend purchase, or with your next Bones pipe, you'll get a stash of desiccated cow for your.
It's not lost on me, believe me. When I first started learning about it, I was like, why would anyone do that? And then I started doing it, and I was like, I feel amazing. Like it replaces. It doesn't replace. I mean, we should all eat like an omnivorous diet, really. But I just eat a lot of protein, and that was like a natural transition. I'm not carnivore or anything. I still have I had French fries yesterday, so I just try to stay more protein based.
Isn't that kind of a cholesterol bomb?
The beef organs are not. No.
No?
There's not a whole lot going on there in that way, but. Yeah, I mean, eating a really heavy, fatty beef diet can raise your cholesterol. There's a lot of nuanced science in there, but
by the way, there is a great misconception. Most of cholesterol in our body produced by our body. What we eat, whatever cholesterol we get with food, is pretty much insignificant. It hardly affects our cholesterol level at all.
Oddly enough, that's true.
Yes.
Yeah.
You would be surprised how fast your body processes.
And here's the thing
what
about
cholesterol
the
is
dangers of cholesterol. So the dangers of cholesterol is when it gets foamy, right? You can have plenty of cholesterol in your bloodstream all the time, and it's not really it's not collecting to the sides of the blood vessels to create atherosclerosis unless it foams up. And you know what causes it to foam up? Stress. And you know what counteracts stress? Pipe smoking. See, I told you I could bring it all back.
We solved the world's problems today.
That's right.
A lot of it too is, and a big one for me was, you can actually reduce the stress that you have by eliminating sugar and eliminating a lot of carbs, like bad stuff, like bread. Bread shouldn't even be in anyone's diet. I mean, I'm eating a burger, so I'm kind of an ass saying that. But like, I used to eat like a lot of bread. Like I'd go to town. I mean, I'm in a family where like sourdough was just always there. So I'd just be like, oh, breakfast, nice piece of sourdough toast with some butter. The thing is your body doesn't really process, like it's not designed to process bread. We haven't had bread that long in our diet. We've had meat forever. We've had seeds, we've had nuts, we've had, vegetables and fruits and all that stuff. Our bodies are designed to live off that stuff. But bread is just, well, I'll just say cutting out of my diet personally, like I feel great. I don't eat sugar whatsoever. Like, if there's cake or something, I'd be like, no, thanks. I'll have like a pickle. Like I like salty and sweet and bitter, or salty and bitter stuff. I don't really care for sugar anymore now that I don't eat it.
So then,
I'm not trying to be holier than thou. Don't.
Well, I'm just curious. So on your birthday, do you have a birthday pickle with candles on it?
I'm kind of, I don't know. I feel bad every time there's a get together because there'll be like some sort of dessert someone made, and it's like, oh, I spent so much time making this. And I'll be like, oh, okay, I'll have a tiny little piece, and they'll give me like a normal sized piece. I'm like, no, I mean like literally one fork. I'll try it. But I just don't like sweet stuff. It's weird. It's like when people, DDR, like if you transitioned off of meat and you went to being like a vegan or something, you don't really crave meat anymore because it's no longer in your diet, right?
That is true. I've been eating a lot
Yeah.
of impossible stuff, because it's just a plant-based protein substitute, and so it can form in anything. And to be perfectly honest, we went out for my daughter's graduation dinner last week, and everybody was having steak, and so I had bites of everything. It was like, the impossible stuff tastes 10 times better. I have no craving for beef anymore.
Yeah, so you transition over, and that's just what you eat. I mean, there was something I hadn't had in a long time. I'm trying to recall what it was. Mayo. Okay, so I like swore off mayo for the longest time just because I don't like it. It's gross, personally. And then my wife snuck it into a sandwich one day. I was like, this is delightful. It's so like nice and creamy. And she was like, yeah, there's mayo in that. And I was like, what? And I started getting kind of mad because I was like, why would you do this? You know, I hate mayo. And I was like, but I kind of like it now. So your tastes change over time and all that. But you just do, I don't know. I just do what feels right for my body. My kids and my wife still eat everything, like whatever they want. I just kind of focus less on like the bread and the sugary stuff and all that crap. But anyway, God, we went on a tangent.
We did.
More calories
we did. That
in the Impossible Burger than there is in a regular burger.
I missed all of that, Dave.
If you go to, say, for example, Burger King, where they got the Impossible Burger, and they say that this is all vegan, there's more calories, more salt, and more cholesterol in the Impossible Burger than there is in the regular burger.
I'm working my way through all of that information right now that you just gave me. So I'm gonna come back to you on that one. Listen, I had to see. This is the thing. I had a plan this morning, and then immediately Chris arrives and just throws off the plan. But that's why I love him. I totally do. But here was my plan. We, as you know, here in the Zoom room, and of course, if you've been regular watchers over there on the live stream, we have sort of a weekly ritual where we wander around the people who are in attendance and say, what are you smoking and what are you smoking it in? And we get a chance to connect with one another. And also I learn so much about blends I've never tried before. And that's a really cool thing. But today I thought we'd do something slightly different, gentlemen, if that's all right with you. And what I thought we would do, because we have a special guest, is if we could go around, if you got it with you, show it off. If not, just what Bones pipe do you have and where'd you get it? As in, was it something you bought or was given, or not, did you steal it from somebody, but how did you acquire it? That's my thing. And if you, as normal, if you would put up your electronic hands, then we'll start off going around the room. And I'll start with Dimitri.
Well, hello, everybody. I have this beautiful pipe. And I'm sure you all know how I got it. The Virtual Pipe Club of 2020, first club of the year for the Virtual Pipe Club. Smokes like heaven, very durable. Love the pipe. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
And let me pass the pipe. I don't see any raised hand. Yeah. Okay, how about David Martinez-Ruiz?
Thank you, but I don't have any, so I can pass to Tim, which is the next one.
Okay.
You can say something nice about them, though. I mean,
I don't have them, so I cannot never smoke them, so I don't know. But yes, they're awesome.
There we go. That's all I wanted to hear. Yeah.
So I guess I have the Virtual Pipe Club Pipe of the Year 2020 as well. It's very nice and light. It's one of my really good drive to work pipes. I can keep it in my mouth and not crash and stuff. So it's a really Really nice pipe. Smoked well right from the beginning. Just broke in right away and continues to get better. Thank you, Chris. Very nicely done.
Thank you.
And so let's see. I will pass the virtual pipe on to David Johnson.
Thank you, sir. Gentleman and a scholar. I have got, where am I here?
Sure. We can see the
Yes,
pipe.
we see you and we hear you.
Really want to look at my mug. There it is. There I am. There I am. Okay, there's my Morgan Bones. This is, see, there's the trademark. Don't remember what model it is, but
Like a spigot brandy.
Mr. Morgan would be able to tell me what it is. Yep, but anyway,
Yeah, spigot brandy.
okay, spigot brandy. Hey, this is a real nice smoker. I've really, really, really enjoyed it. Really, really, really. That's 3 reallys. So it's really, I really enjoyed it. Very
Thank you.
much so. I don't know. I really didn't know what to expect of it when I bought it. I've had so many people talk about it and or talk about these, and so many people have hyped up your pipes, and you know, they like this is the greatest next up and coming thing. And so I figured out, okay, I'm gonna drop the hammer on it, and I'm gonna get it, and I did, and I'm glad I did, and so thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I appreciate your work.
Thanks.
I appreciate your work. So thank you. And I'm gonna drop the hammer on Alvin. You're muted, my
Okay, I was working on that. You're faster than I am, David. Hello, Chris. Glad to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Of course, I have got. Excuse me, I'm falling here. I have got the club pipe, which people have already shown you, and I've got that pipe and I love it. But I have a couple of. So I do have a couple. I've got your little slightly bent brandy. I think that's a brandy.
Yep.
That I like. And then I've got my beat to hell all over the place hunting pipe, my fishing pipe. Had that a long time, and it's been through hell, I can assure you. But it's held up and smokes great. I'm going to Alaska in another week, and I'll be taking it. So that'll be one of my pipes. And then I ended up, buying a pipe from you is kind of like buying a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. And I will tell you, I ended up seeing this Dublin, and I couldn't believe how beautiful it turned out. It is gorgeous. So
it's got a nice blast.
It really got a nice blast on it. So I really like this one. So thank you for your fine work, Chris, and love your pipes.
Thanks for your support. Appreciate it.
And I'll pass it on to, let's see, let me go. Dennis, Dennis?
You're muted.
Sorry, I unmuted my microphone, but I forgot to unmute it there. Sorry about that, everyone. Now, I show my pictures getting a little jerky, but can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right, good. Because when it was first, I didn't know anything about Chris's pipes until the club pipe was being mentioned. So I first immediately ran to Chris's site and found a nice little, I don't know what you call it, a cubby or what. It's just slightly bent. And it's
Belch.
a damn nice pipe, Chris.
Yeah, I like that
and-
one.
Yeah, it's light, and what can I say? Then there's, of course, the club pipe that everybody has. Thank you, by the way, for allowing us to pick that up, because I got lucky on this one, Morgan, because I can't find a single flaw on it anywhere. I don't
It's
know
defective. It's defective. Send it back.
Something. But I can't. This smoke. I'm going to be lewd and rude. This smoke's fucking good, man. I mean, actually, the other one does too, but this one is something else. And then finally, I decided, okay, how much can I go for a big one? A nice big bowl. So I bought this one from you, and it's got a few flaws in it, but this one smokes gorgeously also. And you're able, at your price, to put nice acrylic stems on these suckers. And I don't know how many people I've recommended, instead of getting a $40 basket pipe at a local store, to grab one of yours first, because you got the best pipes at the $60, $50 price level that I can see. In other words, if once somebody graduates from a cob, I keep telling them, okay, try some of Chris's stuff next, because I have not had a bad pipe from you yet in all the three that I've got. This smokes better than some of my Savinelli autographs.
Wow.
Let's put it that way. You done good, boss.
Thank you.
I know. That's all I can tell you.
I might have to take back that VPC pipe, though, because it's supposed to have flaws in it.
Right. Listen, I want to just really quickly, I just posted it over there in the chat for the people who are watching on the live stream. But if you're out there, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you are, if you've got a Bones pipe, or if you got a Morgan pipe, it doesn't have to be a Bones. He makes other stuff. Fantastic. Let us know and tell me what you think of it. Like Matt says, I love my Bones beige so much, I bought two. And there you go.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Plunkett, you ready?
Yes, thank you, Dennis.
Take over, sir.
Afternoon, everyone. It's good to see everybody again. I've been gone for a couple of weeks because I've been painting. My room's a little scrambled around at this point in time because I've been painting this. This room was a unique color. It was kind of orange sherbet, not my favorite color for my study. So I'd put off dealing with it, but now it's rapidly trending toward a nicer color. Anyway, of course, I've got the ever popular club pipe, which, as you can tell by the coloration on it, it is used a lot because it's such a great smoker. It's one of my favorites. The other one I have, I actually can't find at the moment because I'm painting. It's in a box somewhere. But I ordered that one specifically because I wanted a gnarly one. And it is gnarly, absolutely. It has what I call personality. It's got some cracks and crevices and other little things that make it unique. But it, too, is a great smoker. So highly recommend Chris's pipes. And I'm smoking some Rue Guru in this weekend. So a little departure from my usual one. So welcome, Chris. I no doubt we'll be acquiring some more of these. So with that, let me pass the virtual pipe on to Bud in San Diego.
Thanks, Sean. I've got a bunch of Bones pipes, Chris Morgan pipes, and last weekend I was camping, so I packed up my pipe bag, which is like a little mini backpack, and so when I came in here to the meeting today, I haven't touched that bag since then. So I just figured, well, I'll just bring the bag out and, smoke whatever's in there. And so it happens that I have a couple of pipes in there. And San Diego Pipe Club was inspired by the virtual Pipe Club's Bones pipe. So we went ahead and got our own. So you might notice this is a regular loaded. It says San Diego Pipe Club there on the thing. I don't know, probably can see it now, but anyway, we got that not long after. And then one of the other pipes I happen to have in my bag is a blackjack pipe, which is has the copper band on it. This is the number 22. nice
I love that one. man.
bulldog Rhodesian style, I guess. So anyway, it's a nice, great smoker, and I love the copper accents on it. So, but those are the two I happen to have with me, and I'm a big proponent of Bones pipes, especially. And when we have new pipe smokers in our club, that's one of the first things we tell them is pick up a Bones pipe, and that'll probably won't hurt you at all. So both in a pocketbook and also learning how to smoke. So pretty forgiving. And I will pass the pipe on to Randall.
Thanks, bud.
Thank you, bud. Yes, love my Bones. I too, of course, have the club pipe, which is an absolute favorite. But what I have here this trip through is Chris identified it. It's called a Triangle Magnum. It's one of his larger pipes. It's got a good sized bore, must be close to 7/8 and probably approaching 6 inches in length, which is my preferred full size pipe, I'll call it. I know there's a lot of Bones pipes that are pocket pipes. They're short and stubby, and that's just not for me. That's not my style. I've got, I don't know, I must have 12, 14 different Bones. Another favorite is is it a bent hourglass, something like that? That's a really cool pipe. But this one has got the length and the bowl height and the hand feel, and it's a good clencher, and it smokes great. I love it. Today, what do I have in here? Some Wilkie pipe tobacco, Coronado Oriental, it says. It's a real nice blend, good dose of Latakia in it. Weather's not too hot, so we work on some of those today. Let's see.
Thanks, Randall.
You're welcome. You're welcome very much. Let's see, who else is available? Anybody going on here? How about Perry?
Thanks, Randall. I hope you all are good today. It's a cool down day in Northern California here. It's unusual for middle of June, but we have a really lovely day out here. I am smoking some old Butera's Royal Vintage blend. And I don't know if you can see that, but from 2017, I think. The Dark Stove is what that is. And if I recall correctly, I think they're not around anymore, but I think they were blended by McClellan's when they were still producing tobacco. I'm smoking it in a Dunhill, let's see, Group 6. And has a silver ring on it. It's a limited edition pipe, not one of their super expensive limited editions, but this came out a few years ago I guess in honor of Richard Dunhill, who was the grandson of the founder, who had just passed away. So this was kind of in memory of his passing. Anyway, that's about it. I will pass the pipe to Janos.
Thanks, Perry.
You got your mic muted, Janos.
Janos, I've got you on mute there, young man. You have to unmute.
Wait.
There we go.
Hello, everybody. I'm happy to see you, Chris, here.
Thank you.
And okay, I don't have any bones, but I have a blackjack.
Oh.
It's kind of bulldog, long shank. I bought it 5 years ago in Capo Jones in Queensbury, New York.
Cool.
I'm happy to be with us. I'm not smoking nothing, just I finish a bowl. Let's pass the, and one announcement is not good. We have a broken pipe today. One Russia pipe maker is passed away, Alexander. Okay, that's all. And I pass the pipe which available to Alvin, Texas.
Thank you, Giannis, but I've already gone. So
Thanks, Giannis.
you can pick somebody else there,
We've
buddy.
got, I see Kent's got his hand up there. If we can pass
Yeah.
it off to Kent there.
All right.
Thank you. I'm glad to see everyone from around the world and hope your day is doing well. We've got a little bit of a break in 100-degree heat from the last few days. And so life is great. And we're here, and I have the club pipe, and it still smokes very well for me. I really love it. So thanks for making this thing for us and for me. And I'll have some match holiday mixture in it today. And just enjoying the time and having Chris with us again. Enjoyed your experience with us the first time. And I hope this won't be the last time. We'll get to see you again. I keep checking the website for my next Bones pipe because there will be a next one. So
Thank you very much, Kent.
all right, and I will pass it on to Walt.
All right, guys. I don't know if you can hear me or see me.
Yes, coming in loud and clear.
All right, good. First of all, this is my first Zoom meeting. I have no idea what's going on with this interface. I do not own a Bones pipe, but I have been in the pipe business for quite a few years. And I would like to say that if it were incumbent upon me to come up with a line of pipes that were the sort of value of what I've seen, and I have seen many Bones pipes at the shows and shops and such. If it were up to me to come up with that, I couldn't figure out a way to do it. So I do just want to say congratulations and thank you to Chris for putting many pipes into the hands of new pipe collectors and new pipe smokers. With what he's done with his Bones line, his blackjacks, and of course his own amazing Morgan pipes. Yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say. I don't know how to pass it off to somebody else or who else is ready. Well, I do have to duck out. So.
Well, I want to say it's really nice to meet you, Walt, and thanks for coming and joining us today. We always love to see some new faces and whatnot. And guys, very handsome young man right here, right? To brighten up the group that we've got. There we go. So
Good to have you with us, Walt.
yes,
Thank you.
It's good to have you with us.
Yeah,
please come back
Thanks
and
a lot, Walt. That means a lot.
please come back and hang out with us again anytime. And I'll take up I'll bat clean up here. Because we'll show you next time how to find out who's still up in the lineup. But I think I'm the last one. So I, of course, just like everybody else, I have the club pipe. And a bit of a story about the club pipe. It's a panel love it. And I don't have any other panels in my collection because frankly, I always thought they looked not like my taste in pipes. And I wasn't sure how it would feel in the hand and whatnot. But I got the pipe because it's my job to get the club pipe every year. And I started smoking it, and it just changed my whole outlook on this. So as you guys all know, different pipes will have different kinds of draw, different kinds of feel in the hand. And some are famous but not great draws. Some are great draws but not famous. This is a freaking good pipe. I used it for our slow smoke contest last year. It was amazing, and the panel thing feels completely different than I had imagined it would feel. It feels really fantastic. I did have a Bones before I got the club pipe. This little nose warmer right here, and I just really dug it. You can see, well, maybe you can see, I've smoked it enough to really color this bad boy up there. It's great. This is outside in the yard and mowing the lawn and whatnot. That's the pipe I usually bust around with. This one is another great pipe. I just haven't smoked it very much. It's a what I would call an author shape, but your line doesn't call them authors. Is that right, Chris?
There's the fat author, which is similar to a 320, but that looks kind of different. Can you hold that up?
Yes.
That might have been one of, yeah, I think that was the one that it was like a modified sort of fat author.
I went through my author phase and I'm like, I have to have one of those. It just doesn't get as much use as my other pipes do. So this one is destined for the box that goes overseas to our active duty military. And so I know that one of our soldiers will really love it. And so and by the way, I'm smoking something I picked up at the Chicago Pipe Show, a 2016 tin of Fusilier's Ration, which is full English with, I don't know, some cavalry boots or something inside of it. And I really like it. It's really tasty. I do want to say, by the way, because I was reminded by watching the comments coming in over the Facebook and YouTube group, you know what tomorrow is, man? It's Father's Day. It's Father's Day. How many fathers do we have here? Like all of them, right? So I just want to say a happy Father's Day to everybody. I'll say it again before we adjourn today, but happy Father's Day to each and every one of you. And if you haven't told your wives that, or your kids, that today of all days is the day that you should be watching this show, because the very best of all Father's Day gift is another pipe. So the pipe should replace the tie as the Father's Day gift of choice. That's just my opinion.
Here, here.
There we go. See, I have some adherence to that idea. All right, so those are all the little announcements and asides I want to make. I want to reintroduce our special guest for today. It is somebody that we've had on the meeting before as a special guest, and then he did us the honor of coming back and just kind of hanging out with us some more, and I loved that. That was just, I think, told me a lot about the quality of this gentleman. Chris Morgan is the creator and owner of Morgan Pipes. It is. We gave him a new corporate title of Morgan Enterprises today because he's got a lot of stuff going on. So, Chris, for those two people who have been in a coma for the last 5 or 10 years, give us a brief introduction about you and Morgan Enterprises and everything else that you're doing.
Thanks for having me again. I do pop in once in a while, just kind of under the radar on a Saturday, but usually Friday and Saturday I've got kind of a lot of Zoom meetings that I'm part of. So if I'm in too many of them, I sort of get the stink eye from my wife. So, okay. So 2006, I started making pipes, handmade pipes, and then did that for quite a while. And then I want to say 2009, I started developing the Briar Cigar, which was kind of my entry into something a little more mass produced. That gained a lot of traction. We moved production over to Italy, and the Ascorti family was kind enough to help me kind of get that off the ground. And that went like that for a few years, and then we moved to another factory in Italy that was capable of producing far more, because when they were with Ascorti, they were still relatively handmade. And when I say handmade and factory made are kind of a weird thing. We can get into that later, but pretty much all pipes are handmade. So there's no machine where you're going to plug in a piece of briar and it's going to pop out the other end a fully finished pipe. They're always going to be mostly handmade. But anyway, so that happened, and then I came out with Blackjack. 2 years later, came out with Bones. Bones has been around for, I want to say, like 6 or 7 years, and it's been kind of the flagship product. Just for obvious reasons, the price point, and it kind of has gained a bit of a fraternal club around it. Let's see what happened after that. Then I kind of went back to, I was doing handmade pipes the whole time, then took a brief little reprieve, did a lot of knife forging and decorative ironwork and stuff like that. Got bored with, well, I didn't get bored of it really. I just got too hot, to be honest. I got sick of being in this shop. Has high ceilings, but I mean, you start, doing forge welding and Damascus and stuff, and it gets, I think the highest I ever clocked it was 118 degrees with both fans. So I have a fan at the door and a fan in the window, like a whole house fan. And it just didn't help. It was just too damn hot. So summertime is, no forging. Might get back into it in the winter for a bit, but yeah, I'm all pipes all the time now.
So we have talked about this before, so forgive me for bringing up, old news, but I do want to just lay a foundation for new people who haven't had a chance to meet you for. So you said you started making pipes back in 2006. What was the moment and the why about starting to make pipes? Like, what had you been doing immediately before that, and then this transition?
So it was kind of weird how I fell into it. My grandpa and my great grandpa both smoked pipes, and I grew up around them. I mean, since I was really little, he'd have his pipe racks there, and I'd be smelling the tobacco, and I would be playing with the pipes, and they intrigued me, but I didn't know that that's what I was interested in. It was just, like, hey, what's this cool little trinket? And then, you see it in like, a movie, there's someone smoking a pipe. And I remember I was maybe 15, 16, maybe 16 or 17. And I always remembered there was a pipe, an ashtray, a half a pack of cigarettes, which those got smoked up when I was probably like 16. I just stole those suckers, and but there was always a pipe in the drawer and a check tool, and there was a cool green ashtray, and it was always for when my grandpa came over. We just kept it there at the house, and it was his pipe when he was here, and it was a Shalom. It was like a Shalom. I don't know if I have it here. I tried to prepare myself for this, but I think it might be, I think it might be in storage. It's kind of a special pipe for me. Oh no, here it is. There's this pipe here, but I had a much shorter stem. So it had this little short stem that he replaced it with, and he pared off the tenon to make it fit. It was like one of those pre-molded stems. This has since been restored by George Debos years ago. And he put a longer stem on it and made it a little more smokable. But just found this. And I remember my friends and I went to the beach one time, and on the way there, I stopped at a pipe shop and I picked up some mint chocolate tobacco. And it was hideous. It was absolutely disgusting. But I was sitting there smoking my pipe, trying to be cool doing a bonfire on the beach. And then, fast forward to college, I ended up going to Cal State Monterey Bay for a marine biology degree. And part of the way through, like, school just hasn't been my thing ever. I'm not really a conformist when it comes to that kind of stuff. So when I went, I was talking to one of my professors, and I said, hey, what kind of money is in this, this industry? And he was like, none. You're going to be probably on a boat doing research on a government grant or a military grant if you're going to be making any money. But for the most part, there's just no money in it. Like, do you want to do this? And I said, no. Like, I live in California. It's too expensive to live here, and it just doesn't make any sense. And you can't, as a marine biologist, you can't really have a family if you're doing like the really important work, because you're traveling all the time and you're doing, ocean research and stuff. So I just kept it as a hobby. Came home after about 2 years and just got some carve your own kits from Pimo, which is now taken over by Vermont Freehand. And oddly enough, met Steve Norse in the process, and he's been sort of my oldest contact in the business, my oldest friend in the business for what's it been, like 16 years. So just started from there. I mean, kind of opened Pandora's box, sold a couple, sold more, started working with an auctioneer on eBay, which is when some interesting conversations came up. We don't have to get into that today, but there were a lot of misconceptions about how I sold pipes for a while. But yeah, for a long time they were at auction. You could pick up one of my pipes for $70, $60 on eBay back then. And yeah, that's all. I don't know how much more to add.
So yesterday, Chris and I were chatting for a while, and you shared with me that right now you're in this phase where you just love making pipe. You're just like, I'm just working in the shop. It's work, work, work. Tell us a little bit about that.
For me, it's kind of just, I was sort of I don't want to say solo parent, but my wife went back to work pretty soon after my first daughter was born. So I was just with her all day, every day for the first, year or two. And with my second daughter, it changed a little bit to where she worked part-time. I kind of worked part-time. And so this whole time, my daughter's a year old now, a year and a few months, I've just been kind of playing dad because, I've got a kid that wants to play all the time and do stuff and go places. And I've got a kid that just, you have to be careful because she'll jump off, the kitchen table and kill herself. So it's kind of been this like juggling act. But as soon as summer hit, my wife is a teacher, so she doesn't work in the summer. And I was like, wait, so I can go back to making pipes? And it was just, it filled me with joy. Like, it was this amazing feeling where I could just go out in the shop and just start, making stuff again. So for me, it's, I get to play with tools all day and make sawdust and, sandblast and do all the cool stuff. And then, when I sell a batch of pipes or I sell a single pipe or something like that, it's like, wow, I'm getting paid to play. So yeah,
that's awesome. Do you have any that's in progress that you could show us?
I wish I could, but you'll see them in probably a couple weeks on Tobacco Pipes and Cup of Joe's, and with a big Chinese retailer. But I got I want to say like 22 pipes done in the past maybe month and a half.
Wow.
And yeah, I don't have any here. I can show you some of the examples that from in the past.
Yeah, we'd love to see it. And
yeah, and
then after we take a look at those, gentlemen, I can I don't know if you know this, Chris. We've shared this before. I can read minds, and I can hear everybody with a question in their head. So
sure,
let's take a look, and then we'll open it up to questions.
So this is one I did years ago. This I made for myself. I don't generally make pipes for myself, but I was testing out a new military mount drill set. And so here's one. This one's really heavily smoked. This was actually bear color before. So it was, nope. It was like this color before. And then this is another one I made for myself. just like a little pot.
It's got some really nice grain on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of kept this one just because I was like, wow, it's got some super nice vertical grain. I don't know how clear I'm coming through on the.
Very nice. Yeah,
YouTube.
beautiful.
There you go. So that's just two that I made myself, but I don't know. It's kind of a funny thing now. Like I had pipe making as a, well, here's a meerschaum that I did too. I had pipe making. It was like it was a heavy business for a while. And then I kind of just got tired of it being a business. Like it wears you out when you take something that you really enjoy and then you have to monetize it and then you have to live off that. It stops being fun. But now it's a hobby again. So I don't stress much about it.
Super. Thanks for showing those two. I have another follow-up question on that, but let's first go to some other questions. I see Dimitri's got his hand up. Dimitri, go for it.
Well, Chris, when you told us about that mint chocolate tobacco, that reminded me of one of my experiences. Last December, I went to Baclarex in New York City, and Joanna, manager there, told me, "Oh, Dmitry, we got new tobacco for Christmas, but it's horrible. We tried to cut it with some other tobaccos, it didn't work." So I tried that tobacco. It was peppermint. There was not a trace of tobacco taste. It was like smoking candy cane. Probably most horrible tobacco I ever smoked. Well, of course, I told them use a lot of Virginia and unflavored black Cavendish. They did that. About 75% Virginia Black Cavendish and 25% of that peppermint. And I tried it after that. Well, I didn't like it because I don't like aromatics, but it was smokable and you could actually taste decent tobacco there. But I feel sorry for you. I understand what you had to go through and you have my condolences.
It was it was just that one time, but man, it was horrible. Like it was really bad.
If you've got some question for Chris, a gentleman here in the Zoom room, just go ahead and put up your electronic hand if you don't mind. And that also goes for all of the fellows, people. We have lots of ladies who watch the show as well. If you've got a question for Chris, go ahead and put it in the chat there and I'll ask it. And one other thing that I always forget, because of how live stream works, it's timeless. It's like it's going to sit on Facebook and sit on YouTube for a long time. You can actually continue the conversation if you watch this sometime in the future and you go, God, I wish I was there because I would have loved to have asked Chris XYZ. You can still ask, and I'll pass it along to Chris, and you never know, maybe he'll get back to you personally.
Or send me an email. You can send an email to chris@morganpipes.com. One of the big things with how I do business is I believe in being directly connected to my customers. So a big one that does come up is, hey, Chris, I got this Bones pipe and it's got a big crack in the side. It's got this big pit in the front or whatever. And they're like, is it okay to smoke? Yes. If I sent it to you, smoke it. Unless you're unhappy with it, then, let me know. But they're supposed to have, part of the charm is the pits and the flaws. And some of them have some pretty serious things that slip through quality control sometimes. But smoke it. If it burns out, it will be replaced. That's how I do this. So, and I will scrutinize the hell out of it because I know what a burnout looks like. So far, I'm not going to give, I don't even know the total number of bones sold, but it's approaching probably 6 figures at this point. I have no idea. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to throw it out there, say maybe like 40,000, 50,000, 60,000, somewhere in that range. I've had 15 actual burnouts in that time. And we ended up getting into a funny conversation one night with some friends, and they were crying about how a pipe was starting to burn out. And I said, I'm going to bet you $100 that in the next 5 months, that pipe will not burn out. It is so extremely, extremely difficult to burn out a pipe unless there's like a through pit. That's usually the cause of it. It's like a through pit and, it's covered up and it doesn't get seen and it might start blowing out. But, if that's not the case, man, it is very, very difficult. I mean, you have to chooch on a pipe really hard because you have to break through the insulation of the cake and the whole bit. But I'm digressing. Sorry, DDR, go for it. I do this, man. You got to keep me on track.
I know. That's my function there. Well, speaking of guys who just puff away like a chimney, let's go to the president of the San Diego Pipe Club, Bud.
There you go. Well, one thing, guys, what other pipe manufacturer you know of that has an option for gnarly? Come on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the coolest pipe there is right there. So, but that's always what I order when I order. I say, give me the most gnarly one you got, Chris. Always put a comment in there. And he pretty much comes through with it every time. One of the things I was going to ask
the orders. I do read the checkout orders. So if you have a particular thing, like I have some guys are like, I don't want it to have any pits. I'm like, okay, I'll find you a fairly clean one, but a lot of guys say, make it as gnarly as possible. I want it to have crag and all kinds of, cracks and, just weird stuff. I'm like, all right. So I dig through and I find that. So when you check out, there's a checkout notes, like a memo to the seller type of thing. You can fill it out and put in whatever comments you want. I can't respond to them, but I can, take those into play when I fill the order.
I was going to say I had a great experience following through on our, San Diego Pipe Club pipe through you. And I was just wondering how many club pipes have you been asked to do?
Let's see. I did the San Diego. I did virtual. I did leaps twice. Yeah, we did the Fat Frog twice, and then there's another one that we're trying to make happen. So because of 2020 and 2021, or through those years, we had a bit of a Briar shortage. And I mean, even with the San Diego, it was difficult to get those blocks.
Right. I remember
I can get small stuff all day. That's not hard to do because they dry faster and there's more of them. But when you go to like a bigger pipe, and I have so many shapes that are just on back order right now because they're bigger shapes or they're taller shapes or they need a wider bowl or something like that. We're starting to see a little bit more relief in that area, but I mean, even from a handmade side, it's difficult to get Briar. I'm trying to chip away at the club pipes. It's a little hard to do for some groups because they'll have I had one club come to me and they said they want them all lightning finished. That's something I can offer. I don't like to because that's a lot of extra work. But there's that. And then there's also sometimes they'll be like, yeah, we have 10 guys that want a club pipe. And I'm like, well, I'll send you the pipes and then you can send them to a local place to have them laser engraved. It ends up being more cost effective for everyone. But yeah, sorry, again, long answer.
No, that was cool. I see Little Fat Morgan's here, raise his hand. I was going to ask you a question, brother. I saw it come in, but since you're here, go ahead.
Yeah, I was wondering if you're ever going to come back out with a dwarf's hammer again.
Dwarf's hammer. Trying to remember that shape.
It looked like a poker, but it was a small.
Yeah, send me an email. Do you have a photo of it?
No.
Okay, let me dig through my.
It's been a while since you made it.
And it was a bones.
Yes.
All right, let me go back through the photos and see if I can find something like that. it's dependent on what's available briar wise, and then it's usually like a 2 to 3 month wait from when I send it in.
I do want to break in here. I see a couple of other gentlemen with their hands raised. But before we do that, I want to make sure that nobody takes off early. This happens every week. You're here with us for a good hour, and then it's like, there's a call to go off and attend to other business. Totally get that. But today's not that day that you want to run off, because today, Chris has a very, very special announcement. First time announcing this in public. It's going to happen right here in the meeting. And we're going to get to that shortly. So don't go anywhere. You'll want to hang out for this conversation there. And that's all I'm going to say about it, because I'm going to let Chris do all of the magic there with that. David Johnson. Yes, sir.
You're not the first person I've heard talk about shortage of briar. Having a hard time getting briar. Is it hard to dig out briar? Is briar becoming more rare, or is there some kind of a shipment problem, or what's the issue?
So it's a multitude of reasons, but I'll try to sum it up. Yeah, it's hard to dig up, but a bigger issue is that a lot of the younger people nowadays who would be doing that labor are going into cities and going to university and that kind of stuff. But that's been happening for decades. There's less and less of the harvesting / rural class in Italy. Sort of what we would consider to be like, I don't even know what you would call that, like a labor class, just because it's structured a little bit differently there. In 2020, because of COVID, they locked down pretty heavily, and a lot of the unions and the people that employ these harvesters, they weren't allowed to work. So briar doesn't get harvested. It doesn't get shipped to the mill. It doesn't get cut, oiled, and dried. It doesn't get dried for 6 to 8 months, and now you have like a year delay. So it basically, while the briar that was currently being cut and processed, there was nothing refilling the basement. And when I say basement, it's because that's generally, a lot of these mills have a basement where the burls are stored and watered until they're time to be harvested.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so it's that, and then the other side of it is ocean freight. So ocean freight is completely screwed up on the West Coast right now. Specifically anything coming into LA Harbor or LA, I'm blanking on the name.
LA Long Beach.
Long Beach is the one I was trying to think of. Yeah, Long Beach. There's just ships that are parked there for weeks and months, and they just sit. And I mean, it's not bad for the briar to sit in those conditions. Like, nothing's going to happen to it. But yeah, it's complicated. It's like, for example, the most recent briar that's being shipped to me and a few other guys in the States is wet. So they're cutting and shipping it wet, which they don't have a better option than that. It just has to be done that way. And then it's up to the pipe makers to throw it in burlap sacks and age it and let it dry out really slowly, because it will crack if you dry it out quick.
Is there something domestic that can be used for pipes, like maybe oak or something like that?
You can use like cherry burl. None of this stuff is going to be as durable as briar. Mesquite, you can use that. You can use arbutus is actually like I have an arbutus tree across the street from me. So if you were able to find an arbutus tree, it's Arbutus unnato. So it's the ones that have this is why they call it strawberry briar usually. They have these little bumpy fruits, and they're edible. They're really sour. but if you mix them with sugar and water, it'd be kind of like lemonade in a way, like a berry lemonade. And they do that in a lot of cultures that have those trees. But arbutus would work if you could theoretically find a burl large enough. It's just that it doesn't grow as prevalent because it's a decorative tree in the States usually.
If I'm not mistaken, during World War II, this was the problem because they couldn't get to the places where where briar is found, and so there were some trees like the ones that mesquite and manzanita. Is that also
manzanita, madrone?
Yeah. So the reading that I've done on this is that they work, but not as well. The grain is not as lovely as it is on the briar that we're using from Mediterranean, and a little less long-lived. It'll burn out a little bit sooner. But
like Poland, for example, is a great example of using what you have available, like the pearwood. A lot of their pipes are pearwood, and while it's a good wood, it cracks. Like it's just an inevitable thing. As soon as you start building a cake, they just pop. Or they burn out or whatever. But Missouri Meerschaum has their hardwood pipes, and I believe those, does anyone know what those are?
Maple.
They're not maple. Okay.
A maple, yes.
Yeah, maple's completely fine. It just, go ahead.
Yeah, also olive wood,
mesquite
apple
is
wood very often.
mesquite has got a lot of creosote in it. How can that be?
I'm not saying as a primary wood. I kind of misspoke saying mesquite. I meant to say madrone, but I have seen people make mesquite pipes. In fact, I'll use this great, soapbox as an opportunity because I see this question come up time after time. Briar's too expensive. What else can I use? And these are usually just hobbyist guys that want to make a pipe. And I usually will tell them, like, if you can't eat the fruit that it bears, like if you're not going to enjoy eating it, don't make a pipe out of it. And then whittle that down further to, is it like pear, plum, apple, cherry, stuff like that. You're going to be okay. It's just not going to perform as well. But I've seen guys go to Hobby Lobby and pick up like zebra wood, and they'll be like, hey, look how cool this pipe is going to be. I'm like, yeah, but it might also make you sick. Maybe. Or I made a pipe out of, there was one time this guy made a pipe out of lignum vitae. And I was like, please, for the love of God, don't smoke that. Like, you're going to kill yourself. Like, that's so full of oils and all kinds of junk you don't want in your body. Like, just don't.
Like pine. You don't want to put anything in the pine family.
No, that's...
Let's move it to Dave Harniak, and I just want to remind everybody watching over there on
Thank
Facebook
you,
and
by
YouTube.
the way, very much.
Thanks, David.
If you've got a question for Chris, go ahead and pop it into the chat there, and I'll ask for you. But yeah, Dave, our Canadian.
Hey, Chris. You interested me when you said lightning finish. Can you tell me? Forgive my ignorance. I'm going to be doing a lot more research here right away, but that kind of got my attention.
There's going to be a lot more education. I'm in the process of redoing my site, so there's going to be a little video and all that kind of stuff explaining it. But basically, when back in the day, and I'm going to flub the history on this, there was a scientist that started noticing people that were struck by lightning would end up with what seemed to be these white tattoos on their body in different spots, and it looked like a lightning pattern. Oh, and then he was noticing it, correlating it onto when lightning strikes, it's like a sandy, like a beach. It will vitrify the glass, and I might be messing up that word too, but it basically turns it into glass in this lightning pattern.
Oh, nice. So like Lichtenberg stuff?
Lichtenberg was the scientist. And so later someone developed the process of finishing wood. Usually wood turners will use it. And for the longest time, people would just use a microwave transformer, which is exceedingly dangerous. Do not do that. In fact, recently, quite a few people basically killed themselves using microwave transformers to do this finish on wood, because it became popular on a lot of social media an acquaintance of mine, Ty, got majorly virally famous on, I want to say it was Instagram, for burning it into these big slabs of wood and then filling it with epoxy. And he does it safely. But basically I said, hey, why not do it on a pipe? And it ends up that Briar is like the perfect medium for the finish. It holds the right amount of electrolyte. It burns really nice and crisp. And I just popped it on there as an option. I do one batch a month to keep it safe. So if you buy, there's going to be a 4-week lead time. And I don't do it if it's raining, and I don't do it if it's humid at all, because the amount of electricity, I'm using 12,000 volts at about 36 amps. The machine I use is a very custom built, safe machine, and I wear class 2 gloves. So it's very low risk, but it's very high consequence. If I do get shocked, it's going to probably be really bad.
Before
I have a dead man switch, so it immediately will, hopefully. It's low risk though. I mean, it's eating a turkey.
Cool.
Yeah,
I'm
sandwich
quite familiar with the technique, but I just didn't realize that it was done on pipes. That would be a really interesting finish. So thanks for answering.
Of course. A long answer again. Sorry.
A dead man switch prevents a dead man.
That is true. And that's generally when you find that people hurt themselves or die from doing this process, it's because they have it plugged into a wall and they put the leads down and they, touch something and it doesn't turn off, basically.
Yeah. This was just a couple of months ago that a couple, husband and wife, were doing a hobby project like that, and they both killed themselves. So on that happy note, let's move on. So, and I'm doing this kind of a little bit in the interest of time, because I promised that Chris had a really special announcement that he was going to share with us. So lately, Chris has been working beyond the scope of the projects that we're familiar with, like his actual pipes, into some other avenues. I'm trying to set this up so that I don't give it away. So there are some new and special things that he's doing in Morgan Enterprises, and when he shared it with me yesterday, I got super, super excited. And so I'm going to let Chris share it with you so that you guys can get super, super excited as well. Tell us what's going on, man.
All right. So this is a project that's been in the making for years. And I figured I had a conversation with someone about this. So I can leak it to the world. How do I put this? I've been working with Sutliff for about a year now, developing a line of tobaccos that will be coming out on the 22nd. So this is Jackalope, and I'll actually open the tins here so you guys can see what they look like. So Jackalope is a Red Virginia plug. It's a different orientation for a plug, but it's, well mixed and everything, so it doesn't really matter. It's sort of a loose brownie plug.
Hold it closer, I can't smell it.
And they're really, really, really good. So what we did, all over the place. What we did was change the representation of a lot of these tobaccos. Per the FDA regs, you have to stick with a certain recipe that exists, but they don't say anything about what you can do with it. So all these are, hot pressed and stoved, and some of the quality of the leaf has been adjusted to just represent different flavors. Not all red Virginias are the same red Virginia, i.e. kind of what we did with that. Then we've got Bayou Buck, which is my personal favorite.
Hold up the tin lid for us, can you? There we go.
So all these have sort of the rabbit, sort of theme. Buck being a male rabbit, Bayou pointing towards the Perique content, and that's a Virginia Perique, and it is incredible. This is sort of a crumble cake, like
oh my God,
crumble cake kind of. Oh, I'll get that later. And it's very, very fragrant and slightly funky, with the Perique.
Delicious.
It's very good. This stuff kind of makes you want to eat it, when you smell it right out of the tin like that. And the third one, because of a funny little happy accident that happened, it got tinned wrong for my sample. So what's in here is not actually what it's supposed to be, I don't think. We'll check right now. This is White Rabbit. It is an English cake. If it's actually an English cake. I was talking to Jeremy. He said that he thinks they accidentally put the wrong tobacco in because no, that's an English cake. Huh. And this is sort of same kind of preparation as the last one, a sliced cake. And this is delightful also. I'm not a huge English guy, but it's really, really good. Very like a medium to probably a medium English. So a lot of Kia in there and Virginias and all the good stuff. So you guys heard it here first.
First of all, congratulations on those. Those look amazing. And I'm like Dave, I'm like, I want to smell it now. First question, when can we get our hands on them?
You will be able to get it on the 22nd from Cup of Joe's and Tobacco Pipes. And this is not limited. This is going to be a regular menu offering. We're in the process of working with a few other smaller shops, local places that are going to be calling in and pre-ordering it probably starting tomorrow. But yeah, Cup of Joe's and Tobacco Pipes, you'll be able to get all three blends. I am not completely sure on the price yet, but they have been priced commensurately with the rest of the industry for what they are.
Nice. Dave,
yeah.
I see you immediately got your hand up there.
Yeah, just maybe you can't divulge the exact proportions or whatever, but Bayou Buck, is it a fairly heavy Perique or is it mild Perique? Like,
I'd say it's probably everyone's tastes are different. I'm gonna try to find the description for you guys so I can read it off. Let's see.
You've obviously smoked it, so.
Oh yeah. It's just I'm really terrible with describing tobaccos. I'm not like Dimitri. He'd be able to pick out all the components and everything for us. But basically, Bayou Buck is a generous offering of spicy, plummy Perique, perfectly balanced with a tang and dark fruit of matured red Virginias. Green River Burley is toasted for unique Black Cavendish, the light application of which gives this vapor a creamy body and light notes of molasses and caramelized sweetness.
Nice. I'm pumped.
It's super good.
Awesome. I'm glad you said it wasn't. That was my first question when I raised my hand. Is this one of those ones that you have like 12 minutes to buy and that's the end of it? But I'm glad to hear that that's going to be a continuous run. So congrats and thanks.
Of course. Thanks, Dave. And not to put it on you guys, but the more you buy, the faster this sells out. And I don't mean like, hoard it or anything, but the faster it sells out, the more likely a larger, next and third and fourth run will be. Obviously, this isn't something that is being produced in 10,000 tin quantities, so we have to prove a demand. I will say that there are more coming later in the year that will be completely different, at a different price point, aimed at not a different market necessarily, but sort of a different use case. Whereas you want McClellan for something and you want, Five Brothers for something. So I'll hint at that a little bit.
Cool,
Kent,
thanks, man.
Kent, see your hand up. Go ahead, man.
Hey, Chris, would you mind reading the description of the jackalope?
Sure. Jackalope is bright Virginias, slowly toasted to a dark hue and pressed into a plug. The result is a natural sweetness of caramelized sugar and dark fruit coming together for a mellow yet rich mixture. Notes of bread and light citrus mingle with the forward sweetness throughout, making for a consistent, deep, and flavorful smoking experience.
Sounds like that's going to be very popular.
Do you know by any chance where Virginias are coming from? Are they North American Virginias?
These are usually going to be North American Virginias through Sutliff. There is one blend, I believe, that has African Virginias in it, but I have to verify that first.
Thank you.
So let's talk a little bit, if you don't mind, about and I want to be sensitive to proprietary conversations, whatever. But like, can you walk us through how it all began and what does it take for a guy to come up with a new tobacco blend introduced on the market?
Well, right now you can't, unless it's very low quantity and very, very quickly selling, which, we're talking about these midnight drops that everyone keeps talking about. Unless it's something like that, you have to stick with a basic recipe per the FDA stuff. But what you can do is change the preparation. So let's say on one side you have a blend that is naturally a ribbon. You can take that, you can hot press it, you can toast it more, you can fiddle with the way that it's finished, and you end up honestly with a completely different tobacco if you do it properly. And then that's not even taking into account age. If you were to leave, Jackalope in this tin for 10 years, it's going to be a different tobacco in 10 years based on secondary fermentation and all that kind of stuff. What's it take? I mean, it's gone through many iterations. A lot of the guys that might remember, I had a blend that was developed by Russ Ouellette through Pipes and Cigars called Morgan Cake. And we were trying to shoot for that sort of preparation, something that's really dark and rich and has a very satisfying aperitif sort of quality to it. Something that, after you have like a rack of ribs or a big steak, you need something big and heavy to, put you to sleep in your armchair sort of thing. That blend ended up going through some unfortunate discontinuance. I ended up going to Bob Gregory actually and working with him developing a blend through Sam Gowith. It just unfortunately coincided with some other changes with his employment and with the business itself, and we ended up kind of scrapping the project. Fast forward to today, got a hold of Sutliff through my contacts with Tobacco Pipes and Cup of Joe's. I mean, most people know that they've been acquired at this point. And it just felt right. It was a good corner to step into. And Jeremy has been absolutely wonderful through the whole process. Everyone at Sutliff has just been awesome. I feel like I'm talking to family when I, hop into meetings with these people.
Bud, I see you got your hand up there.
Hey, Chris, were you thinking about going to the Las Vegas International Pipe Show this year?
I won't be there. More than likely, I mean, there's a chance that I might just hop out for a couple of days, but more than likely, I probably won't be able to attend. Got some other family stuff going on, and it's just when you're the sole proprietor and the only employee, you leave for like a day and you come back to like a week's worth of work.
Gotcha.
Chris, I've never asked you this before. What's your adult beverage of choice? And I have a reason for asking, but so.
I'm a huge beer guy. I don't really get into, like, I like whiskey a few times a year, but I love beer. Pretty much anything ranging from pale ales to IPAs. Lately, I've been drinking this stuff called ranch water, just because I'm trying to reduce a little bit of the calorie and the carb content. And it's wonderful stuff. It's like a White Claw, but for more of a savory palate. So there's like salt in it. Some of them have like jalapeno. Some of them are like a really sharp, like grapefruit flavor.
The reason why I'm asking is because at the Las Vegas Pipe Show, the Virtual Pipe Club will be hosting a suite where we'll be having a bar and tastings. And
cool.
So maybe we can entice you with some ranch water. We'll get some custom ranch water that we'll have just for you there.
I mean, if I'm feeling saucy, I like once in a blue moon, I really do like very high-end Irish whiskeys. I know that's kind of an oxymoron because Scotch is generally the high-end stuff, but you know, like an 18-year Jameson is nice. I also like bourbons. I'm not a big fan of clear liquor, you know, but yeah, I don't drink a lot of hard alcohol. It's mainly just beer, and generally it's because I'm always working, man. Like you can't be doing shots while you're working on a lathe.
Unless you're Tom Elting.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to see if we could, because I'd love to see you. You know, myself, I'm gonna be there, and
sure.
Just because again we're at that time of the show every week, a little bit early, but just because I know that people will be starting to wander off a little bit. A couple of announcements that are coming up. I'm going to talk about it right at the very end. Some of the other guests that are coming up in the next couple of weeks. We've got people all lined up and some really interesting people. Nobody as interesting as Chris Morgan, but interesting in their own right. And also some additional news from Chris, because those 3 blends that you just shared with us are not the only blends that you've got coming. Isn't that right?
Yeah. There'll be 3 more. I'll just let the cat out of the bag. Make people wait for it. But we also did some bones blends that are sort of aimed at the sort of utilitarian nature of the bones pipe guy. And I feel bad announcing this here, but hopefully some of the guys from the Bones fan club on Facebook are in here, or at least watching. And I'll jump over and give them a little live after this, because now I feel really bad about it. But there's going to be some pouched blends that'll be available at a lower cost that have, there's a different type of blend, whereas these would feel a little bit more like luxurious and fancy. There's going to be a shag burley, which is incredible. It's one of my favorites. I'm a burley guy, so that makes sense. There's going to be an aromatic, like your traditional sort of 1Q-esque aromatic. And then there's also going to be a Virginia burley in there.
So we're going to definitely be doing a review of these for the Virtual Pipe Club's YouTube channel. But one of the things that I'm thinking about, and this is something that I would encourage all of us to share when you meet somebody who's getting into the pipe hobby right off the bat, it's very common for us to, I get these kinds of questions all the time, as I know all of us do. What kind of pipe should I buy? It's like buy a cob if if you're just starting out, and there's some codger blends that might be starting. But I think this is a replacement. I don't want to say replacement because I love my Missouri Meerschaum friends and whatnot, but this is an alternative to that recommendation. Like, this makes a perfect first collection for a new pipe smoker. It's a Bones pipe, and now the Bones blends that go right along with it, and that's a nice selection. The Burley, the Aromatic, and what was the third one that you said?
There's a vanilla aromatic Burley, and then it's a Burley Virginia. Yeah, Virginia Burley. It's predominantly Virginia, but it's less hot. So it's more of an entry blend for guys that aren't going to go full Virginia. That tend to bite for inexperienced smokers. But there's Burley in there, and I wanted something like a Bones that you could just throw in, your glove box or your backpack and just go. And you're like, oh, I left it at the beach. Oh, well, whatever, get another pouch later.
Perfect.
That kind of thing.
Perfect. It's just absolutely addressing a niche that is really consider this. This is the future of the pipe smoking hobby. All of us old codgers are going to eventually, fade away. What do they say? Old pipe smokers never die. They just go up and smoke. But the younger generation, this is a perfect entry level for them. So in the last few minutes that we've got, and there's some other things that you have done in the past that are part of Morgan Enterprises. Can you bring us up to date on some of those other pipelines and also some of the other stuff that you've done in the past for us?
Sure. Bones and the Briar Cigar are back in stock. I just had a drop yesterday. So if you sign up for the newsletter, you'll get early notice. Blackjack comes and goes dependent on Briar availability. Arbutus comes and goes depending on availability of the wood. But right now we're coasting on Bones, and I'm working on getting that stuff a little more hammered down. I feel terrible about this, but I'm still trying to put together the catalog, which is nearly impossible, coming up on like 400 different shapes we've had for Bones. But that's in the works as soon as I can come up for air and start working on it. That'll be available digitally on the site when the new site is launched, if I can get it done. Might have to outsource that one to a photographer. And let's see, Morgan Meats is on hold because of the high beef prices. I don't want to sell a $20 bag of beef jerky. And what else is there? The forge work is kind of on hold just because it's summertime now. So,
but swag is still available.
What is it?
Swag, your merch.
Okay, so swag is a good one to talk about. There were so many different sizes and so many different color preferences and all this kind of stuff. I ended up moving my apparel to a company that outsources and prints on demand. They have this really badass machine, and they did a test for me one time on live video to show what this thing would do. This thing can print something like 15,000 colors, and it can do it side by side. So you can create like a magical rainbow with a unicorn coming out, and it'll be like kind of metallic, and it's a wild machine. It's like the size of a car. And so I went with them. So when you order from Morgan Wear on the site, it'll take you to their page, which is a separate cart, and they will accept the payment and ship to you. So you can get hats, beanies. We're working on a smoking jacket. We have hoodies, and this is all top quality, not your cheapy giveaway sort of apparel. Like, I wanted clothes that you could wear on a daily basis. I'm not wearing one right now, but they're actually the only shirts I wear. So you can get them with like the subdued rabbit ears logo, where it's just the ears. You can get it with the Morgan Pipes logo. You can get it with bones, all that stuff. So
awesome. And all of that is on your website. And and just for those people who, again,
morganpipes.com.
Morganpipes.com. I'm going to put that into the live stream chat over here so that everybody's got a chance to see that. So one more thing that we didn't talk about yet, and that is your podcast.
Oh, yeah. So Sean Ream and I, who's also a pipe maker, wanted to do a podcast not about pipes. The initial plan was to basically talk to pipe people and maybe talk a little bit about pipes here and there, but talk about all the other random stuff we're into. You know, if you're into, we're not really into sports, so we don't really ever talk sports, but you know, we talk about fishing and camping, and we talk about one thing that we're interested in is like, you know, food prepping or whatever. Or we had a homesteader on one time. This guy grows all of his own vegetables. We've had, you know, talking about cryptocurrencies. And so it's a fun podcast to just put on in the background and listen to. Generally, we keep it around an hour. We have guests every couple of weeks. And we have a very special guest coming up that does not usually talk. He's not really, I don't think there's been any podcasts with him, and there's been very few interviews, but he's a very notable figure for about half a century in our community. So I'm looking forward to that, but I'm not going to say any more about that one. So you can check out Beyond the Pipe on Apple, Spotify, Google, any of your podcast stuff. And we're on season 2 now, so we've finally figured out how to use the mics, and everything's nice and crisp and clear, and it's fun.
I just put the name of the podcast there into the
awesome.
Chat on the live stream. Beyond the Pipe. So is there any particular person that you've had on in the past that you can name that are some of your favorites? And by the way,
go ahead. Sorry.
I'm just, I'm available.
Yeah. we would actually, we'd love to, what's funny, we had a guy on who, let me get his name just because I was going to mention to you yesterday and I completely forgot. Jetty Azuma, the Rising Man podcast. Jetty does a lot of the same stuff that you do, DDR. He's into like, it's a little different, I guess. He's into like the more of the jiu-jitsu sort of world, like rolling, and he does these retreats out in the middle of freaking nowhere in Northern California and all this. But we could talk off camera about that. We've had him. We've had Eric Troutman, who runs a brewery in, is he in South Carolina? We talked to him. We talked to a friend of ours, Rob Capuccio, about some pipe stuff and all that. So we've had a handful of guests. We didn't title these for some reason. I don't know why we didn't. I'm just trying to remember. On the spot, my memory is terrible. Who we talked to was One Big Pikey, who guy has like 1.5 million followers on TikTok. And that was a hilarious conversation. So we do talk about some random stuff. I mean, some of the titles like Drink for Drink with Harambe. This guy, One Big Pikey, people send in drink recipe requests for him to drink on camera. So it'll be like a Carolina Reaper vodka, and he'll do it on camera and give his responses. And he's really funny. He's a hilarious guy. So yeah, it's a good time, and we should have you on.
Anytime, seriously. So what days does the podcast drop?
Usually it's every other Friday.
Awesome. Well,
we skipped a week there just because Sean and I had a lot of stuff going on, but we need to get it. Summertime's tough for them because he and his wife run a craft business as well. So they have all the shows and stuff, and it gets crazy, but we'll be back.
Awesome. Well, gentlemen, we still have a little bit of time left. If you've got some questions for Chris about anything, the tobaccos that are about to drop, and by the way, let me just repeat that one more time. On the 22nd, on tobaccopipes.com and on Cup of Joe's, and then you'll probably see them in some of the other online pipe sources or whatever. But those are the two first places. And if you let me put on my announce voice. If you suffer from tobacco acquisition disorder, you too can continue your addiction by ordering from tobaccopipes.com and Cup of Joe's the new Morgan Pipes blends. Did I do well?
Well put. Yeah.
Can I get a job in your marketing department there? Yeah. So questions for Chris, and then we're going to head on out and make it another week here. I thought I saw a question that had come up, and now I'm... Oh, Patrick. Patrick snuck in. Patrick Grant, how are you there, buddy?
Doing good, guys.
Man, so what happens when so for those of you who don't know, I have the control board here, and I typically go back and forth between the speaker and whoever else is talking, and then I don't go to gallery where I see all these handsome faces right here. And by the way, Chris, David Martinez wants to know if you're running for president in the next cycle.
No, I actually did consider running for town council though, next rotation.
I think so. You live in Santa Cruz, right?
I'm about 20 minutes away from Santa Cruz. I'm in Los Gatos.
You're in Los Gatos. Oh, even better. So Chris, the perfect representative of that community in the town council. Absolutely.
I mean, I don't know if I really even fit in here. I'm what you would consider to be a native in this area. Like I grew up here, and what it is now is far different from what it used to be. I mean, it used to be old dudes driving trucks to the lumber yard, and now it's, Bugattis and Lamborghinis cruising around with internet money. So yeah, it's a different world out here.
We do have a question coming in from over on YouTube. Will the new blends be available in the UK?
Not yet. These will probably be only available in the US, but we're working on it.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, because we don't have a whole bunch of other. Kent says, "Does everybody?"
So let me respond to Kent. Yeah. Los Gatos, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, kitty cats." It's like, well, no, we're known for mountain lions, and every year, you got a handful of people who are like, "There's a mountain lion in my backyard." And you're like, Los Gatos. It's literally named for it, guys. Like, they live here. And it's actually one of the most terrifying things. I love when people say, like, I live here and there's bears and they're really scary. I'm like, bears ain't shit. Mountain lions are messed up, man. Those things, you see a cat, scratching its owner. It's like, imagine that times 10. Like, they'll rip your head off, and you don't even know why. They don't even know why. Cats are nuts.
There's a place that I've been to not far from where I'm living now, that is a wildlife sanctuary, and they have a wolf experience. And so I went up there and played with wolves for one day. The owner also has mountain lions, and he used to travel to different schools and whatnot to give these talks on how communing with nature was actually a way of understanding getting off of drugs and bad lifestyle and all that kind of stuff. And he said that he would sleep with them in the back of the truck. Like, and the mountain lions are probably 11 feet long. Like, I could not imagine laying down next to one of those things. You'd wake up with only 2 limbs left.
No, thanks. I had one stalk me a few years ago. I used to do a lot of hiking and I mean, I've been a hiker my entire life. Only recently did I stop because I don't have the time, and now I hate walking. But I was walking down a trail one day, and I was about maybe a mile from the trailhead where my car was, and I hear something rustling in the bushes, and I caught just the absolute tiniest glimpse of like the outline of its head, and I was like, oh God. And it was like 5 o'clock in the fall, starting to get dark, and this thing followed me for the whole mile, all the way to the trailhead. Like bears are easy. I've been around bears. I've come up on bears backpacking and camping. I had a bear walk through my tent one night when I was sleeping. I don't mind bears. Bears are chill. It's the mountain lions are crazy because they're territorial and they like to kill stuff just for fun. And it just, ugh.
I don't know why this happened, but a line from the Lord of the Rings or from The Hobbit actually just passed through my head. Is it juicy, precious? Is it tasty?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
They don't even eat you. That's the thing. Mountain lions don't eat people. They just kill you and leave you there.
Yeah, but the stereotypically cats don't just kill you. They kill you slowly and play with you because they don't want you to stop thrashing around. They want you to be a plaything that's interactive for a while.
Not a mountain lion. They will kill you quick.
Yeah.
By accidentally.
Worst thing about
back of the neck. The saying that we have here, and there's not a lot of mountain lion deaths, thank God. But the saying here is if you see it, you're already dead. Because generally a cat will not reveal itself. And which is why I could barely see it. It just followed me. And it could have been completely fine. It could have just been following me for fun, just because that's, cats will play and stuff. But yeah, always put your sunglasses on the back of your head if you're going to be walking, because if they think you can see them, they won't bother you.
Well, there we have it, our nature lecture for this week, ladies and gentlemen. Chris, thank you, man. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, my pleasure.
It's always really nice to have you. And I forget how great our conversations are because you have a finger in a lot of different interests, and that's really a lot of fun. And of course, my question, like I had last time, will you come back again?
Oh, of course. Yeah. In fact, when everyone's, tried the blends, maybe a couple of months, I'll come on and see what you guys think.
That'd be great. That'd be really wonderful. All right. Coming up in the next couple of weeks here, and I don't have my list right in front of me, so I apologize for that. But we do have a part 2. This has been a really long separated part 1 and part 2, but the Danish Pipe Shop with Nikolai is coming back, and the last time we just kind of sat and chatted with them, but this time we're going to do a whole virtual tour of the Danish Pipe Shop, and we'll have a chance to take a look around. It will most likely be at a special time because it's a different country, just reminding you. But we'll make plenty of announcements about that. Boswell's Pipes is coming on soon. We're just trying to get a time that works for them. Missouri Meerschaum, as I mentioned last week, I think we scheduled them. My assistant scheduled them, and I'm like, but I'm out of the country on that day, so we're going to reschedule them. But they're coming up very, very soon. And that's just a little bit of a teaser as well, because if Chris can do teasers, so can we. That's all I'm saying. Cool. On that note, let me end the way that I always do. Chris, I don't know if I shared this with you. Now, can't think. I'm sure I did. Recently, after 2 years of being an advocate for taking care of yourself, and if you're a vaccine kind of person, do the vaccine. If you're just a wash your hands kind of person, or if you're just like, I'm not doing anything, then stay the heck home. And I came down with COVID on the last trip, and I'm so glad that it did not come from where I was afraid it came from, because I had been at the Chicago Pipe Show, and immediately after I tested positive, I posted online and I reached out to a lot of the friends I have that I met at Chicago. Please get yourself tested. And nobody said that they had come down with it. Even Jeremy Reeves from Cornell and Deal, he was telling me that he came down sick and missed a week being on our show. And it turned out he did not have COVID. So I'm just so glad that was not where it all happened, and I didn't give it to anybody. But it is still a thing that you can get. So just take care of yourself, guys, because I love you, and I want you to be safe, and we'll see you back here.
You can pick up COVID just like you can pick up the flu. It's a virus.
Yes, that's right, on a toilet seat.
Once it's in the wild, you can get it anywhere.
So that's the thing. Be careful. Be safe. Do whatever it takes and do whatever you feel is the right thing for you. And that's what I would want you to take away. Anyway, that's our show for this week. Thank you guys all for being here. This is the fantastic, handsome, oh so intelligent Zoom Room crew. You can be a part of the Zoom Room crew too, by the way, anytime you want to. My Ginger just woke up there. So all it takes is for you to get the link. Very, very soon, you'll be able just to go right to our new website, thevirtualpipeclub.com. There's nothing on it right now, but very soon you'll be able just to go to that website and participate live. You won't have to find a link or a Facebook post or anything else like that. So that's coming. But if you want to join the Zoom Room crew too, please come and be a part of it. Anyway, that's all I got. Have a wonderful week.
Suave and debonair are the words that you were looking for.
Suave and debonair. That is exactly the words I was looking for, David. Thank you. All right.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, guys. Have a good week.
See you guys soon.
Hey, Chris. Have a good one, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, Chris.
Take care, everybody.
Love to have you.
Good seeing you, Chris.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, guys.